He was the prize she fought for, the heir to the family legacy. But in a twist of karmic justice, her own grandchild has chosen a different matriarch. This isn't just a family squabble, it's the final, devastating chapter in a war that's been raging behind the scenes for years. The story we're about to uncover isn't something you'll see on the main show. This is deeper, more personal, and infinitely more satisfying. What you are about to hear is pieced together from insider reports, whispers from within the family circle, and exclusive access to evidence that blows the lid off the carefully constructed image Sahna has spent years building. The truth, as they say, always comes out. And in this case, it comes from the one person Sahna never expected to betray her own blood. Before we dive into the secret digital diary that exposes it all, I need you to do me a quick favor. If you're here for the real, unfiltered truth behind the 90-day universe, the stories that don't make it to the airwaves, then you are in the right place. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Everything in this video helps us fight the algorithm and bring these exclusive theories to more people just like you. Join our community of truth seekers. All right, have you done it? Good. Now let's pull back the curtain on the grandchild's revenge. To understand the magnitude of what's happening now, we have to rewind. We have to remember the foundation of this conflict. Sahna's world is built on control, on legacy, and on appearances. When her son, Amit, brought home his foreign bride, it wasn't just a culture clash. It was a threat to Sahna's entire dynasty. She saw a woman who didn't understand the rules, who couldn't be easily molded, and who represented a dilution of the bloodline and traditions she held sacred. The tension was immediate and brutal. We all saw the passive-aggressive comments, the impossible standards, the constant undermining. Sahna wasn't just being a difficult mother-in-law. She was waging a campaign of psychological warfare to either break Amit's wife or break their marriage. The birth of her grandson, little Leo, was supposed to be Sahna's ultimate victory. In her mind, the baby was not a person, but a prize. He was the heir, the continuation of her legacy. He was the piece of the puzzle that would finally cement her control, forcing Amit's wife into a subordinate role as the mere vessel who had delivered the family's future. Sahna believed that with the baby in the picture, she would become the de facto matriarch, the central figure in the child's life, and his mother would be relegated to the sidelines. She thought biology and tradition were on her side. She was wrong, so catastrophically wrong. Our story, our proof, comes from a source that is both intimately personal and brilliantly subversive. A private, friends-only social media account belonging to Amit's wife. This isn't for public consumption. This is her digital diary, a place where she shares candid, everyday moments of her new life with friends and family back home. It's a collection of home videos, unfiltered photos, and quiet observations. And thanks to an insider who believes the truth needs to be told, we have been granted a window into this world. What this feed reveals is a consistent, heartbreaking, and ultimately triumphant narrative that unfolds, clip by clip, photo by photo. It is the unintentional documentary of a child's pure and honest choice. Let's begin with the first piece of evidence, which we'll call the birthday facade. The post is from Leo's first birthday. The party is an extravagant affair, clearly orchestrated and funded by Sahna. The decorations are immaculate, the cake is a multi-tiered monstrosity, and the guest list is full of Sahna's influential friends. It's a performance, not a party. The centerpiece of the day is supposed to be the photo of the proud grandmother with her heir. We see a short video clip. Sahna, dressed in an opulent sari, swoops in to pick up Leo. Her movements are stiff, possessive. She holds him up for the camera, her smile wide but reaching only her lips. Her eyes are cold, focused on the lens, on the image she is creating. But Leo is not a prop. The little boy, who had been happily playing a moment before, instantly stiffens in her arms. His face crumples. He begins to cry, a distressed, panicked wail. He twists his body, pushing away from his grandmother's expensive fabric and cloying perfume. He doesn't just want to go down, he is actively trying to escape. Sahna's smile tightens. You can see a flash of pure fury in her eyes before it's replaced by a mask of saccharine sweetness. She tries to bounce him, shushing him loudly, but it only makes it worse. He's reaching, his little hands desperately grasping for someone off camera. The video cuts. 10 minutes later, Amit's wife posts a single photograph. There are no fancy backdrops, no professional lighting. The photo is slightly blurry, taken in a quiet corner of the garden. In it, Leo is sitting in the lap of another woman. He is no longer crying. In fact, he is beaming, his face lit up with a joyous, uninhibited laugh. He is holding a half-eaten cookie, and the woman is laughing with him, her head thrown back in genuine amusement. That woman is Jenny. Now, who is Jenny? Jenny is a distant cousin, or perhaps a longtime family friend. Sources are a bit unclear on the exact relation. But what is clear is her status in Sahna's eyes. She is a non-entity. She's not wealthy, not influential, not part of the inner circle. She's just Jenny, quiet, unassuming, kind. And in that one photo, juxtaposed with the harrowing video of Sahna, the entire dynamic is laid bare. Sahna offers a performance of affection. Jenny offers a cookie and a real smile. For a 1-year-old child, the choice is not just easy, it's instinctual. This pattern repeats itself relentlessly throughout the private feed. It's like a case study in emotional intelligence. The next piece of evidence: the gift. Sahna, in another grand gesture, arrives with a gift for Leo. It's an enormous battery-powered luxury car, a miniature replica of a Mercedes. It's flashy, expensive, and completely age-inappropriate. It's a gift designed to impress the adults in the room, a testament to her wealth and supposed generosity. A video shows the grand unveiling. The car is placed in the middle of the living room. Sahna stands over it, beaming, expecting Leo to be overcome with joy. Instead, the little boy looks at the flashing lights and loud engine noises with wide, fearful eyes. He shrinks back, hiding behind his mother's legs. He shows zero interest in the extravagant toy. Sahna's frustration is palpable. She pushes the remote control into Amit's hands, commanding him to make it go, as if the child's reaction is a mechanical fault that can be fixed. The car lurches forward, and Leo lets out a small cry, running in the opposite direction. The video ends, and the next post is a photo gallery titled Leo's Favorite Things. It's a collection of simple, quiet moments. We see Leo playing happily, not with the miniature Mercedes, but with a set of plain worn wooden blocks. We see him stacking them, knocking them down, and chewing on a corner. The caption, written by Amit's wife, is simple. He could do this for hours. Thank you for the classic gift, Auntie Jenny. The blocks. A simple, timeless, inexpensive gift. A gift that requires imagination, not batteries. A gift given not to impress, but to delight a child. The contrast is so stark it's almost comical. Sahna's gift, a monument to her ego, sits in the corner of the room collecting dust. Jenny's gift, a symbol of quiet understanding, is the center of the child's world. Leo isn't rejecting the wealth. He's rejecting the empty, stressful energy that comes with it. He's choosing the toy that brings him peace, the one given with uncomplicated love. This is where we have to pause and look beyond the surface-level drama. This isn't just a child playing favorites. It's a profound psychological phenomenon, a concept that experts in child development speak about at length. To understand the science behind Leo's rejection of his grandmother, we consulted with a source, a child psychologist we'll call Dr. Anya Sharma, who has followed similar family dynamics. According to her analysis, young children, especially before they can speak fluently, are incredibly sensitive to emotional energy. They are like walking lie detectors for authenticity. They don't understand social hierarchy, wealth, or the complex motivations of adults. What they understand, on a primal nervous system level, is safety. They can feel the difference between a calm, regulated adult and a stressed, anxious one. Dr. Sharma explains that this is about more than just a feeling. It's about a biological process known as emotional contagion. A child's nervous system instinctively attunes to the nervous system of their primary caregivers. When a caregiver is calm and present, the child feels safe, and their own nervous system regulates. They can relax, play, and explore. When a caregiver is tense, angry, or anxious, even if they are plastering a fake smile on their face, the child picks up on it instantly. Their heart rate increases, their cortisol levels spike, and they enter a state of fight or flight. They don't know why they feel unsafe, they just know they do. Now, apply this to Sahna. Her entire interaction with Leo is a performance. She is driven by a desperate need for him to love her, to validate her, to be the perfect accessory to her perfect life. This desperation creates immense internal stress. She is constantly monitoring the situation. Is he behaving? Are people watching? Does he look happy enough for the photo? This hypervigilance, this simmering anger and frustration just below the surface is a torrent of negative emotional energy. Leo feels it. He feels the tension in her arms when she holds him. He hears the sharp, brittle edge in her voice when she speaks to him. Her affection is conditional, demanding, and overwhelming. To him, Sahna's presence is synonymous with stress. It's a threat. His crying and his avoidance are not acts of defiance, they are primal screams for safety. Then there is Jenny. What does Jenny represent? Simplicity, calm, unconditional presence. When we see her in these clips and photos, she is never the center of attention. She is often sitting on the floor at the child's level. She isn't forcing interaction. She is just there, a calm and stable presence in the room. Her energy is uncomplicated. She isn't trying to prove anything. She isn't seeking validation from the child. She is simply enjoying his company. She offers him a snack not as a bribe, but because he might be hungry. She plays with him with simple toys because it's fun. Her emotional state is an open, welcoming space. For Leo, being with Jenny is like coming into a quiet, warm room after being in a loud, chaotic storm. His nervous system regulates. He feels safe. He can be himself. The psychologist's theory isn't just a theory anymore. It is the only logical explanation for the overwhelming visual evidence. Leo isn't choosing Jenny over Sahna. He is choosing peace over chaos. He is choosing emotional safety over stressful performance. He is in his own innocent way exposing the truth of the entire family dynamic. Sahna's love is a transaction. Jenny's love is a gift. And a child, in his infinite wisdom, always knows the difference. Let's move to the next piece of evidence from the feed, which we'll call the public park. This incident is a significant escalation because it happens outside the controlled environment of the home. The family is at a public park for an outing. Again, it's clear this was Sahna's idea. She's dressed impeccably, directing Amit and his wife on where to stand and how to pose for pictures she's taking on her phone. She's trying to manufacture a perfect family moment. Leo is toddling around, exploring the grass. He's a little unsteady on his feet. In one video, we see him trip and fall. It's not a bad fall, just a little stumble. But like any toddler, he is startled and immediately looks for comfort. His mother, Amit's wife, starts to move toward him, her arms outstretched, but Sahna is faster. She physically steps in front of her daughter-in-law, blocking her path. I've got him, she says, her voice sharp and proprietary. She wants to be the one to comfort him. She wants to be the hero, the indispensable grandmother. But Leo has other ideas. As Sahna swoops down toward him, he scrambles to his feet, crying. He looks past his grandmother, his eyes scanning the area. He sees his mother, who is now standing awkwardly, frozen by Sahna's power play. He sees his father, Amit, who is looking on with a conflicted, helpless expression. And then his eyes land on Jenny. She is sitting on a park bench about 20 feet away, quietly reading a book, staying out of the drama. Leo's face changes. His cry subsides for a moment, and then he does something that changes the entire dynamic. He doesn't run to his mother. He doesn't run to his father. He turns and runs as fast as his little legs can carry him, in a direct line to Jenny. He stumbles the last few feet and practically collapses into her lap, burying his tear-streaked face in her shirt. The camera, still recording, captures the moment perfectly. Jenny, surprised, puts her book down and instinctively wraps her arms around him, murmuring soft, comforting words. She strokes his back and within seconds, his sobs quiet down. He is safe. The camera then pans back to Sahna. Her face is a mask of pure, unadulterated shock and humiliation. She is frozen in a half-crouch, her arms still outstretched to comfort a child who has publicly and decisively rejected her. In that moment, in the middle of a public park, with other family members watching, her facade didn't just crack. It shattered. She was not the cherished matriarch. She was an obstacle the child had literally run around to get to his place of safety. Amit's wife says nothing. She doesn't have to. She just slowly lowers the camera. The video ends. The silence that follows is deafening. This wasn't just a child choosing a favorite aunt. This was a public referendum on Sahna's entire brand of affection, and she had lost in a landslide. The fallout from the park incident, according to our insider, was immense. The drive home was silent and cold. Sahna refused to speak to anyone. For days, she played the victim, telling other family members that her daughter-in-law was poisoning the child against her, that Jenny was insinuating herself into the family to cause trouble. She was incapable of self-reflection. It couldn't possibly be her fault. It had to be a conspiracy, a deliberate and malicious campaign orchestrated by the two women she despised most. She started demanding more time with Leo, trying to force the connection through sheer proximity. She would show up at the house unannounced, bearing more expensive, inappropriate gifts. She would try to take over feeding time, bath time, story time. But every attempt backfired. Her forced presence only increased the stress in the home. Her desperation made her even more repellent to Leo. He would start crying the moment he heard her voice at the door. He would physically hide when she entered a room. He was building a wall, brick by brick, against her suffocating energy. And all the while, the evidence on the private feed continued to accumulate. A video of Jenny and Leo in the kitchen, making a mess with flour, both of them covered in white dust and laughing hysterically. A photo of Leo asleep, curled up on Jenny's lap while she watches television, his small hand clutching her finger. A clip of him bringing Jenny a picture book and climbing up beside her, demanding a story. In every single image, the dynamic is the same. Effortless joy, peace, and genuine connection. There is no performance, no agenda, just a woman and a little boy who genuinely enjoy each other's company. Amit's wife captions these posts with simple, loving messages. My heart is so full seeing him this happy. Auntie Jenny is a baby whisperer. On the surface, the posts are innocent, but in the context of Sahna's escalating war, they are devastating blows. Each happy photo with Jenny is a silent testament to Sahna's failure. Chloe isn't posting videos of Leo crying with Sahna. She doesn't need to. She is simply documenting the truth. And the truth is more powerful than any accusation. She is showing, not telling. She is letting the world, or at least her small private world, see who her son truly loves. And it isn't the woman who fought to claim him as her prize. The narrative that Sahna tries to spin to the rest of the family begins to fall apart. She can claim her daughter-in-law is a manipulator, but she can't explain why her grandson runs from her and to another woman. She can accuse Jenny of being an interloper, but she can't deny the visible, unforced happiness the child feels in her presence. The family members who witnessed the park incident start talking. The whispers grow louder. They see the pattern. They see Sahna's tense, performative affection and Leo's fearful reactions. They see Jenny's quiet, gentle nature and Leo's adoring gaze. The evidence is becoming undeniable, not just on a secret social media feed, but in real life, in front of their very eyes. The foundation of Sahna's authority, her image as the all-powerful matriarch, is eroding, and it's not being destroyed by an adult adversary who can be fought with money or threats. It's being dismantled by the pure, honest, and utterly incorruptible instincts of a small child. The stage was being set for a final public reckoning, a moment so symbolic and so devastating that there would be no coming back from it. Everything we have seen so far was just the prelude. The quiet battles in the living room and the skirmishes in the park were leading to an all-out war, which would be fought in the heart of the family's most sacred gathering. The ultimate humiliation was yet to come. The culmination of this quiet war, the final explosive reckoning, took place at an event that was supposed to be Sahna's crowning achievement, her husband's 70th birthday party. This was not a simple family get-together. It was the social event of the season within their community. Sahna had spent months planning it, not as a tribute to her husband, but as a platform to reassert her dominance. This was her stage, her arena. The guest list was a carefully curated collection of the family's most influential relatives, business associates, and the biggest gossips in their social circle. The venue was her own home, transformed into a palace of opulence. Everything was designed to scream wealth, power, and, most importantly, family unity under her benevolent rule. Our insider described the atmosphere as suffocatingly perfect. Sahna was a general on the battlefield, directing caterers, greeting guests with a smile that never touched her eyes, and all the while, keeping a hawk-like watch on her son, her daughter-in-law, and the grand prize, little Leo. Amit and his wife had, according to our source, tried to get out of attending. They knew it was a trap. They knew the evening was designed for Sahna to perform her role as the doting matriarch for a captive audience. But skipping the patriarch's 70th birthday was unthinkable. It would be a declaration of war they weren't ready to make. So they went, walking into the lion's den with a sense of grim resignation. Jenny was also there, having been invited by Amit's father, who had always been fond of her quiet presence. Her attendance was a point of extreme irritation for Sahna, a fly in her perfectly prepared ointment. The moment Amit's family walked in, Sahna was with them. She immediately tried to take Leo, her voice booming across the foyer for all to hear. "There's my darling boy. Come to Grandma." But Leo, overwhelmed by the noise, the crowd, and the sight of the woman who was the source of all his anxiety, did what he always did. He buried his face in his mother's shoulder and refused to let go. This was setback number one for Sahna. a public rejection right at the entrance. You could see the flash of anger, but she covered it masterfully, laughing it off. Oh, he's shy tonight. He's just playing hard to get with his favorite grandma. She was already spinning the narrative. For the next hour, the tension was a physical presence in the room. Sahna shadowed them relentlessly. She would interrupt conversations to try and engage Leo. She would bring him toys he didn't want, offer him foods he couldn't eat. It was a relentless campaign of forced affection. Meanwhile, Leo would occasionally spot Jenny across the room. She was sitting quietly with some of the older aunts, not drawing attention to herself. Every time Leo saw her, his face would light up. He would wave his little hand. Jenny would just give a small, gentle smile and a little wave back. She wasn't trying to lure him away. She was simply being his port in the storm, a safe, familiar face in a sea of strangers and stress. Each of these small, silent exchanges was a dagger in Sahna's heart, and the guests were beginning to notice. The whispers started. Have you seen the way the boy looks at Jenny? Sahna seems to be trying a little too hard, don't you think? The narrative was slipping from her grasp. And then came the moment, the point of no return. The main event of the evening was a speech by Amit, followed by the cutting of a magnificent cake. After the cake was cut, Sahna clapped her hands together, a general calling her troops to order. Everyone, a picture. We must have a picture of the 4 generations. This was it. This was the moment she had engineered the entire evening for. The patriarch, her husband, her son, Amit, and her grandson, the heir, Leo, with herself, the matriarch, right in the center. It was to be the perfect portrait of her legacy, a photo she could frame and hang in the center of her home, a definitive statement of her control. She directed the photographer, positioned her husband, and then turned to Amit's wife. Give me the boy, she said. It wasn't a request. It was a command. All eyes in the room were on them. This was a theater, and Sahna was the director. Amit's wife, trapped, had no choice. She gently tried to pass a now whimpering Leo into Sahna's arms, but Leo was done. He was finished being a prop. As Sahna's arms, smelling of expensive perfume and tense desperation, reached for him, he arched his back and let out a scream. A piercing, terrified scream that silenced the entire room. He twisted, his little fists flailing, pushing her away. No, no, he cried, the words clear and sharp in the sudden silence. Sahna froze. Her smile vanished, replaced by a mask of cold fury. The guests stared, mouths agape. This was no longer just a shy child. This was a raw, public, and visceral rejection. Sahna, humiliated, tried to grab him more forcefully. Leo, stop this foolishness. Come to Grandma now. Her voice was hard, the sweet facade completely gone. And that was the final straw. Leo, in a moment of pure, instinctual self-preservation, did the unthinkable. He pushed off from his mother's arms, scrambled to the floor, and he ran. He ran not to his mother, not to his father, but across the polished marble floor, weaving through the forest of stunned adult legs. His destination was a quiet corner of the room where Jenny was sitting, trying to make herself invisible. He ran with the desperate speed of a creature escaping a predator. The entire party watched in stunned silence, 100 pairs of eyes following the trajectory of this tiny boy. He reached Jenny, who looked up in absolute shock, and without a moment's hesitation, he climbed into her lap. He wrapped his arms around her neck, buried his face in her shoulder, and his terrified screams immediately subsided into quiet, exhausted sobs. He was safe. He had found his sanctuary. Jenny, caught completely off guard, instinctively wrapped her arms around him, stroking his back and whispering, "It's okay, you're okay, shh." She looked up at the room full of staring faces, her own face a picture of embarrassment and deep sympathy for the child. She hadn't orchestrated this. She was just the safe harbor the boy had chosen. The silence in the room stretched for an eternity. And in that silence, Sahna's empire crumbled. Every guest in that room witnessed her ultimate desire, the heir to her legacy, publicly and dramatically reject her, in the most humiliating way possible, in favor of her greatest enemy, the quiet woman she considered a nobody. This was not a defeat that could be spun. This was not a misunderstanding that could be explained away. This was a truth so pure and so powerful that it obliterated every lie Sahna had ever built around herself. The child had spoken. Out of the mouths of babes came the ultimate verdict. Sahna stood there, frozen, her arms still slightly outstretched. The photographer lowered his camera. Her husband looked down at the floor in shame, and Amit looked at his crying son, safe in the arms of another woman. And then he looked at his mother's face, contorted with a rage and humiliation so profound it was terrifying. And in that moment, something inside him finally broke. The years of fear, of obligation, of trying to keep a non-existent peace, it all came to an end. The reckoning did not end there. It had just begun. Sahna, recovering from her initial shock, turned her rage on the only target she could. "You!" she shrieked, pointing a trembling finger at Amit's wife. "You did this! You've been poisoning my grandson against me! You and that woman!" She gestured wildly towards Jenny, who flinched as if struck. The party was over. Guests began to murmur, grabbing their coats, desperate to escape the toxic implosion of the family. This was no longer a party. It was a public execution, and Sahna was the one on the chopping block. But before she could continue her tirade, Amit stepped forward. He placed himself between his mother and his wife, a human shield. And for the first time in his life, his voice was not placating. It was cold, hard steel. "Stop," he said. The word was quiet, but it cut through the room. "Just stop." Sahna looked at him, stunned into silence by his tone. "This has nothing to do with her," Amit continued, his voice growing stronger. "This has everything to do with you. He is a child. He is not a possession. He is not a prize to be won. He is a person, and he is scared of you. Your stress, your anger, your constant need to control everything terrifies him. Have you ever once, just once, stopped to think about what he needs instead of what you want?" This was a betrayal beyond Sahna's comprehension. Her own son, her ally, her pawn, was defending his foreign wife and turning on her. In front of everyone. "How dare you?" she whispered, her voice trembling with venom. "After everything I have given you, this house, this life, you would throw it all away for them?" Amit shook his head, a sad, weary look on his face. "There's nothing to throw away, Mother, because this isn't a life. It's a prison, and we're done. We are leaving." He walked over to his wife, took her hand, and then gently walked to Jenny. He knelt down. "Leo," he said softly, "it's time to go home." Leo, his face still tear-streaked, peeked out from Jenny's shoulder and nodded, reaching for his father. Amit carefully took his son into his arms. He gave Jenny a look of profound gratitude and apology, a look that said everything. Then, without another word, without a single look back at his mother, Amit walked his family out of that house, leaving behind the ruins of his mother's legacy. The aftermath was exactly as devastating as the event itself. The story of the party, of the child's desperate flight to Auntie Jenny, spread like wildfire through their community. It became a legend, a cautionary tale. Sahna's power was built on perception, on the image of a perfect family she controlled. With that image shattered, her power evaporated. Our insider tells us that in the weeks that followed, Sahna became a recluse. The phone calls stopped. The friends who had witnessed her humiliation kept their distance. Her social standing was in tatters. She had everything she ever wanted, the big house, the money, the status, but she was utterly alone. She had fought so hard to possess her grandson's love that she had murdered any chance of ever earning it. The karmic justice was poetic. Her obsession with control had led to her losing everything. And what of Amit, his wife, and Leo? They were free. Leaving his mother's house that night was an act of emancipation. Our source reports that they have created a new life for themselves, a life defined by peace, not performance. They have moved into a smaller home, away from the suffocating influence of Sahna. Their private social media feed, once a subtle chronicle of a secret war, is now an open celebration of their happy, quiet life. The photos and videos are full of laughter. Leo is thriving. He is a happy, confident, and playful little boy, no longer living under a constant cloud of anxiety. And Jenny is a regular, beloved fixture in their lives. She is not a replacement grandmother. She is something more genuine. She is Auntie Jenny, the woman who offered safety when there was none, the woman who won a war without ever fighting, simply by being kind. The photos show her pushing Leo on a swing, reading him bedtime stories, and baking cookies with him in their new, modest kitchen. These are the simple, priceless moments that Sahna tried to buy with extravagant gifts and opulent parties, but could never achieve because she lacked the one currency that truly matters to a child: authentic, unconditional love. Out of the mouths of babes comes the ultimate truth. A child's pure heart cannot be deceived by wealth or power. It seeks only one thing: safety. Leo, in his innocent wisdom, didn't just choose a favorite person. He exposed a toxic dynamic for the entire world to see. He was the catalyst that finally liberated his parents and delivered a karmic blow so precise and so devastating that no screenwriter could have written it better. Is this the most satisfying plot twist in 90-Day history? I think it just might be. The matriarch has been dethroned, not by a rival, but by the very legacy she sought to control. And a new, gentler, and more loving circle has been formed, with a true queen at its center, Auntie Jenny. Let's flood the comments with heart emojis for Jenny and her new best friend. Show your support for the family that chose peace over power.